So this race that I've been building and building and building toward to try and break 19 minutes for the first time in 15 years, I didn't do it. 1902. And I have a few regrets. How's it going, runners? My name is Justin Thompson. I'm your average running PT, and I help the average runner achieve their own personal elite status. If that's something that you guys are into, then go ahead and click that subscribe button and click the bell so you know when the next video comes out. So you know when you go and you do a race and you feel like you just left something to be desired? Well, that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, as I just did my 5K time trial that I have been building toward over the last few months. And when you hit 1902, literally 3 seconds away from trying to go sub 19, which has been your goal all along, it's a little painful. And you kind of start to think back, well, where could I have done something better in order to make it to that sub 19 level, right? So I always do a debrief after my races on my channel here, so that's what this is, but I titled it I Have Regrets because there are some spots along the way that I felt like if I had made a decision just a little bit differently, that it might have turned out in my favor. I might have gone under 19 minutes, and I wouldn't be sitting here titling things I have regrets, okay? Because you never want to end up with regrets at all. So what could have gone better that I could have done better, that could have made this sub 19 attempt a reality? So, and don't worry, I'm going to give you guys the positives out of this, because there are some huge positives that come from this race as well. And so, alright, negatives, regrets, whatever. So as I'm thinking back through my training, there are certainly things that I did along the way that I think that I could have done better. And, you know, part of it was there was some times during the training that I didn't go for a run when I should have. Okay, so there were certain weeks where I felt like I was kind of getting down, not like mentally, but like physically. I felt like my body was kind of starting to break down a little bit. It was whenever I was starting to do a little bit more speed work, and I was like, that's just hurting too much, or the muscles aren't recovering well enough, so I'm just going to give it another day rest. When maybe I should have gone out and at least put 3 miles or something like that in on my legs that day to help assist with the recovery process. Just that extra little bit of volume over the period of the last 2 months. I would say there were probably 5 or 6 times during the last couple of months where I probably should have run and I didn't. And there was also a couple of weeks in there as well where I took 3, 4, 5 days off, and maybe I should have only taken 2 or 3. So there were certain spots along the way that I just felt like if I had put in just that little bit more volume, maybe my legs would have been a little bit more prepared for the stress of the 5K event. Now, am I still happy with the amount of running that I did? Yeah, I am. I mean, like I said in one of my last videos, I ran 1,000 miles in 2020, which again isn't a ton compared to a lot of people. However, it is a massive milestone for me, and I am very proud of that fact. So, what else did I do wrong that I regret? So, let's go to the race itself. So, in the race itself, let's talk about first the preparation, the warm-up beforehand. So I put a video out about mental strategies. What have I done in the days leading up, and what did I do the day before? The day before, I went through my entire pre-race strategy, my entire warm-up, my eating, my bathroom strategy, my hydration, my warm-up, everything. Well, when you get out to the race and it comes race day, not everything falls in according to plan. Number one, I woke up later than I expected. I set 2 alarms. I did not hear my first one, and the second one went off 15 minutes later, so I was about 15 minutes behind my schedule of where I wanted to be. So I didn't get out there in time to do the team warm-up. I had to do the warm-up on my own, which was a little frustrating for me because it took me right up to the edge of the run, and I felt like I didn't get the opportunity to let my body rev up and then settle itself back down mentally and a little bit physically right before the race. So I was a little bummed about that. Was I still warmed up and ready to go? Sure, I was ready. I was ready to run, but I just felt like maybe mentally I had a little bit of a thought process there of like, crap, I didn't get the warm-up in that I wanted, so am I really going to be able to race this the way that I want? So a little bit of a mental game that I was playing with myself there because of a lack of a proper warm-up, or the lack of my best warm-up, I'll say. And then so let's talk about in the race itself. In the race itself, I felt like there were a few moments during the run that if I had changed my mindset just a little bit, that I could have run faster in a given lap or something like that. So let me tell you what I mean. So as I'm going, first lap, let's first talk about the first lap. You know, did I pace myself well? Because this is always an issue for me. Okay, so I ran it fast. I did run that first lap fast, but it was about 5 seconds faster than what I wanted. It wasn't 7 seconds faster, so that was good. But here's why I'm not so upset, why I don't regret going out at that speed. Because it put more cushion, it gave me a little bit more cushion than I think that it fatigued me. So I don't think that it overstretched me to run 5 seconds faster than my goal pace on that first lap, because I felt like as I was going, I wasn't. If I were to run any slower in that first lap, I would have felt like I was putting on the brakes, and I did not want to feel like I was putting on the brakes, wasting energy pushing back against myself. I wanted to feel like I was using all that energy to go forward. And so I'm not upset with the fact that I ran a little bit faster and gave myself a little bit of cushion. I went through the 1 mile in 6 flat, which was, for me, I think that's good. I think it's good for me to have a 5 second cushion at the 1 mile point, to work with the rest of the race. And then as the race progressed, I knew I had that little bit of cushion, so I was going to give myself a little bit of that back in the second mile. So I went through mile 2 at about 12:08. So I went through the second mile in about 6:08. Mile 1, 6 flat. Mile 2, 6:08. So, I gave myself that cushion. I gave myself that little bit. Now I had to run that third lap, that third mile. Basically, I had to keep my pace that I wanted for the whole race for that third mile. And now I started to get tired. So as I started to get tired, here's where I feel like I regret a decision that I made. As I got into, it's a 12.5 lap run. As I got into lap 10, as I got into lap number 10, I started feeling like things were tying up. Started to feel like if I pushed myself any harder, that I was going to bonk and end up running slower than I did for my previous 5K time trial. So I was more concerned about running slower than before than I was about my sub 19 minutes that I was trying to hit anyway. And so I was playing not to lose and not playing to win. And I feel like if I had made a decision, instead of trying to conserve energy in those last couple of laps in that third mile, if I had instead pushed just a little bit more, I would have been in a position that I could have finished strong and ended up, potentially going sub 19. It was a mental game that I was playing with myself that I needed to go the other way on. I didn't need to play conservative in that moment. I needed to push. And that is my biggest regret. My biggest regret in this entire race was not pushing with a couple of laps left to go. Instead, playing conservative and holding back and trying to conserve energy for a final push at the end. And because of that, I ended up with too much cushion, too much to make up in that final lap. I needed to. When I got to the final lap, when I got to the bell lap, I went through and I looked at my watch and I was like, because I was hopeful that I still had a chance. I was really hopeful that I still had a chance. But I got there, I looked at my clock and I was like, I need to run an 84-second final lap. Now, again, I need to average 91 seconds per lap for the entire thing in order to hit my goal of sub 18. And I needed to hit, and so at this point, I'm slower than that for the entire race, and I needed to hit an 84-second final lap in order to break 19 minutes. So I was already discouraged, but I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. And the fact that I ran an 87 final lap told me that I still had a little bit left to give. Because that was a tough lap for me. That was a tough lap. I was able to push it. But again, if I didn't give myself all that cushion in the beginning, or all that amount that I needed to make up in the beginning, then I wouldn't have had to run 84 seconds, and I would have probably have been in a better position to go ahead and run that last lap hard anyway, and I really think I would have gone sub 19. So here's the thing. I wish I had a pacer. That would have been helpful, obviously, for those last few laps in the third mile. Somebody that I was chasing. There was somebody out in front of me that ran like a 18:30, that I was hoping that I could catch or at least kind of cue off of, but they're over 30 seconds ahead of me, so it's really hard to cue off of that. I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little down about it, but here are the positives. The positive, I ran 7 seconds faster than my previous race. I still know that there's more improvement to be made. I know that I can run more mileage. I know that I can do better with nutrition. I know that I can be even more consistent. Consistency has been key for me all year, but I know that I can be even more consistent and not back out of certain runs where I feel like I'm overstretching something. I feel like there's more that can be done without getting burnt out, without getting injured. So I'm excited. I'm positive about things going forward. What is next going forward? I don't know yet. I think I'm going to take a few days off. I'm going to take 3 days because, mentally and physically I've been trying to push towards this. And I think I'm ready to just kind of back down, take 3 or 4 days to just chill and let the body chill out, let the mind chill out, kind of forget about it, do some other hobbies, something like that. Going forward, I think that I am going to put a little bit more of an emphasis on plyometrics. I did a little bit more towards the end of this, toward the ends of this block, probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks. But I need to have a 5 or 6 week block where I'm a little bit more focused on that. So going forward, I think there's going to be another opportunity to do this in January. So I think I'm probably going to, try and take that opportunity. We'll see what happens over the holidays with training. it's holidays, things could get out of whack, so we'll see if I can get the training in necessary to do a solid 5K effort in January. We also tend to have a 1 mile race on January 1st as well. If I am in town, I may be leaving town, so I may or may not be able to do that. But if I am in town, I'll probably do that race and see what I can do for 1 mile. That'd be interesting. So yeah, that's it. I do have some regrets, but I also feel like there's positivity going forward, and I feel like sub 19 is it's on the tips of my fingers, right? It's right there. It's just out of reach, but I know it's there. I know it's there, and next time I go for it, I think it's going down. So I'm excited. I hope that you guys didn't get lost too much in this video. It was a long video, I know, I'm sorry. But anyway, hope that it's helpful to you to kind of see the breakdowns and see where, mentally I missed it, and what else I can do going forward to make things better. So anyway, head on out there, seek your elite. God bless, and I will see you next time.